All right, I got a Subzero 680 refrigerator, and then I've got a service light flashing. So I read online, it says I should take a look at cleaning out the condenser coils. The condenser on this model is up here behind this panel. So we're gonna need to remove three screws to get there. So I've got one over here, I've got one right here in the middle, and then I've got one over here in the freezer section. I'm gonna take those off and be back in a second. Okay, so I've got those 3 screws taken out. Now there's just some springs behind here that hold it in. So you can see I'm just gonna pull this out here, and then we'll just unhook the springs, and then we'll be able to get to the condenser. Okay, so you can just see there's a spring here and a spring over here. So I'm just gonna disconnect both of those. First one, disconnect this one over here. That's the second one. And then this panel will just lift right off then, and I'll vacuum all this out. Okay, you can see for me that my compressor coil fan area is pretty dusty, so I'm just going to take my vacuum and vacuum over the top of that, and then I'll show you what it looks like in a second. Okay, so I've got it vacuumed off. You can see it looks a lot cleaner now. I'm going to probably go ahead and just take off this panel and take a look back there as well. There's just a couple screws. You can see one there and then one over there that we'll take out to get that off. So, okay, we got everything cleaned up yesterday. Waited about 24 hours, and it looks like that may have taken care of it. The service light is no longer flashing. I did reset the breaker, let it off for about 10 minutes before I put it back on to make sure the service light cleared, but it has not come back on. So after a couple days, the service flashing light came back on, so I did some more research on the internet. It sounds like it's my evaporator coil thermistor. So to get that, I have to take out all the shelves of the refrigerator, which I did. I need to remove this plastic lens covering the light. So there's a latch there, and then a latch over here. I'm just going to undo those, and then this should just pop down. Kind of move it forward as this comes down. You can see that there's pins that it rests on all 4 sides. Okay, now that I've got that off, there is 3 screws here in the back that I need to take off. This one here, this one in the middle, and then this one over here. And then I also have a 4th screw under here that I need to take off. So it's underneath where the water and the ice would come out in the controls on the back wall. As you can see, I took the back off. It's pretty simple. It just tips forward once the screws are out, and it's resting on these 2 pins down here at the bottom, down here. You can't see very well, but kind of right down in here. And I'll show you on this. There's a small groove there on both sides. Okay, there's the thermistor that I'm going to replace. You can see it down here, and then there is a Phillips head screw, which you really can't see, but back here that I will be, at the end of this, comes down, there's a black thing here. Then I'll be taking off this Phillips head screw and then taking it out, and then I have to splice the new wires in off the replacement part that I bought from Subzero right here. And there's the part number. Okay, so I didn't video myself doing the electrical work, but I'll kind of just talk through it here. As you'll see in the instructions, if you buy the part, it tells you to cut the wire above the quick connect. So for me, I was back here, I cut about 14 to 16 inches back. And then I took the new part using the 2 connectors that were provided, crimped it, and then used a heat gun to melt the shrink wrap tubing around it. Then I reattached this with the Phillips screw that I showed you earlier on the right-hand side of the evaporator coil. Put the shelves and everything back in, and then waited a little bit of time to see what happened. I did show this, but it was a little quick before. I bought the part 4204150, the service thermistor package. And then again, I'll show you on the refrigerator. This is now 2 days later. I got no service light flashing, so looks like it took care of it. And thanks.